Guys, deluded, I'm back again. Now, Lucas Torreira, 22 years of age. Long story short, we all know he's finally signed for the club. We also know, due to Uruguay getting to the further stages of the World Cup, he was always going to be given a break. So, yeah, a lot of reports based on his homeland are emerging. I'm not too sure of his whereabouts. It was understood that he would be travelling back to Uruguay, whether that's to deal with media questions, to have his holiday. He's going to have his off time, which is entitled to now. I don't know, but a lot of reports are emerging from his homeland that he'll join up with Arsenal on the 30th of July. Pardon me, people. That kind of correlates roughly in regards to what Arsenal's media's team said via the article when he signed for the club, in that he'll join in early August. So July 30th, 1st of August, 2nd of August, that period is when he'll be introduced. So there's a good chance he'll play against Manchester City in the first game of the season. I mean, it will be 12 at that point. It'll be 12 days away. I think we would have played the likes of Atletico and PSG, and obviously the Singapore tour, pre-season tour would have got in full swing by the time he comes in. Now, Torreira was obviously bought by Uno Emery. Was if he was bought or not, we'll never know. But he said he's watched him for the last 2-3 years, so he knows he knows what he's about, and he knows that's someone that he wants to build his side around. I mean, if we look at how he was playing for Uruguay and how Uno Emery sets up at times, you could make the case for a diamond, to which Torreira would be perfect, to which it would be a case of Torreira. Obviously, he'd need to adapt to get to know his new teammates and need time, but he would fit essentially back in. But you'd also have to wonder again. I do think at times we do overplay how much fitness these players are lacking, because how do you quantify not being fit anymore? These people are playing for months. Then they'll, fair enough, have a couple of weeks off. Most of them are training in their off time. Many of them have been at the World Cup and stuff like that, like Torreira. So how unfit are you? So he'll probably, if he's on that Alexis Sanchez stuff, he'll probably be training on the roadside in Uruguay by himself, and he'll probably have a tailored program by himself. I mean, he's a Uruguayan, he's tenacious, so I don't think he won't be fit enough to start. And it'll be interesting because typically Wenger we're very outdated in resting players and time and all of these things. And many of other teams, their players were straight back into the lineup. I'm not saying either approach is right or wrong. I'm just saying adapt to the times. So yeah, there's a good chance he'd probably play. We're playing Manchester City. My gut is that he'll actually be on the bench for that game. At this period in time, I see him on the bench purely because he wouldn't have had a full pre-season with the boys. He still needs to adapt. He still needs to adjust. The expectations are heavy on him. We know we haven't had a player like him, and it's still technically not like that, but we haven't had a player like him since Gilberto Silva. There'll be a lot of pressure by the fans, and he just needs time to adapt, and it's not healthy to place all of these things on him. Yeah, we've signed Leno and Socrates, but the big one is Torreira. Obviously, fans are going to be excited, but we need to think about the collective, and if he's fully fit, of course I start him, but I don't know so until it happens. Also, some other side bits that came out. 3 years ago, he was offered for 2-3 years ago. He was scouted by a Pescara coach and a Juventus coach, and I believe not Pescara coach, sorry, a Juventus coach, a scout, sorry, recommended him to Juventus a couple of years ago, saying he could be a successor to Pirlo. I just thought I'd mention that. And Torreira's also briefly lifted the lid on how the move came about, or not exactly how it came about. He's basically said he was with a friend in a hotel room allegedly when I assume national team, when Une called. He said in different words, but he basically said he was nervous because when a manager of such an important club calls you, a lot of things go through your mind. And as you can see, yeah, it's well documented. You see me for months talk about Napoli wanted him, which is now been backed up. I'm not in the know. I was just following a man, and they were the rumours. He had a number of interest from a number of German clubs, Dortmund and Gladbach, I believe in particular. He also was being watched by bigger teams. So it is. I don't want to say it's a coup for us, but it is of sorts. So yeah, man. Hopefully he does play on the first game of the season against Manchester City. I mean, we need our full set of players, and there's never a good time to play Man City, but you look at Sterling, you look at Stones, you look at Walker, you look at Delph, you look at Fernandinho to a degree, you look at a number of their players. They have more players at the World Cup than us. Kevin De Bruyne, they have more players at the World Cup than us. So you'd like to think their players some of their players might be away. They might not have a fully strapped side to choose from. I mean, by that same logic, Bernardo Silva might still be there. Mahrez is obviously there. Sane didn't go to the World Cup, so he's going to be there. So even Gab Jesus, depending on when he comes back, I do think a lot of these players will come back quickly. Aguero, they will come back quickly. But we don't know if they're going to have a full strength side. It's at least, especially in regards to the back 5, 3, 4, whatever you want to class City's as. But yeah, man, we would have, like I said, we would have been a couple, two games, 3 games, 4 games in by the time Torreira joins up pre-season. I know we've got Boreham Wood. It depends the lineup that's put in against Boreham Wood. I do think a strong team will be listed, but a couple young players will get opportunities. The proper fixtures are then when we start flying. Singapore, we've got some tough games. Obviously we play Chelsea in Sweden or Dublin. I mean, I think it's Dublin. I don't know why I said Sweden. Obviously in Singapore, I believe, forgive me if I'm wrong, it could be in another location, but I'm sure we're playing PSG and Atletico. So there's we'll get to see how the team's shaping up and what we're about and them sort of things there. But yeah, it'll be telling to see what youngsters go away as well with the boys. I do think Osei Tutu, Emma Rowe Smith, Joe Willett, probably the ones closest. I do think it's telling that Bielik is training with the under-23s and he hasn't gone. There's a lot of centre-halves at the club. I do think we've taken a laxed approach to his development. And if I was him, I'd actually consider my future, because I do think he has a decent career in the game. And if Arsenal aren't going to give it to you, you need to go elsewhere. But yeah, man, there's really not much more to say on that front. Guys, deluded, get in the comments, subscribe and do the rest. I'm out. Welcome, Lucas Torreira, and I hope to see you July 30th, 1st of August, 2nd of August, 3rd of August, whichever one. Get in the comments, people. Like the vid, subscribe and do the rest. I'm out. Thanks for watching.